So, the more stressed out I am, due to the fact that I have multiple thought processes going through my head all at one time, the more likely it is that my words aren't going to fit. So, basically, people can send me into a panic attack and say whatever the fuck they want. And that's the issue. That's why I needed an advocate, which I've been trying to get for years. Now, trying to get my dad to not be a piece of shit long enough to actually get a statement out of the son of a bitch is damn near impossible. The guy has it in his head that he's right no matter what. Now, where do I get my screaming from? Well, I get that from all of the abusive environments that I've been in pretty much all my life. Boulder, Colorado, for the first time in my life, I was in a place where I wasn't, where I wasn't victimized for being different. And that's not entirely true. I was homeless, and I was victimized quite a bit for being homeless. The Boulder police always wanted to harass, threaten, and intimidate the homeless. And they do a great job of it. But they also kill a lot of people as a result. For me, before I hurt my back, I was able to sidestep all of that. But in Nebraska, it was always just assumed that I was in the wrong. When I got into a fight with Zach Metcalf, that was a pretty messed up situation. I ended up getting probation for that. I got community service for that. And I cleaned up the female cell at the Dual County Jail there in Chapel, Nebraska. Now, there's a lot of major issues that I have to deal with. The first one is people not willing to understand. I mean, fuck, you know. And B, she used to be a pretty sober person until she got rheumatoid arthritis. She's one of the few people in Chapel, Nebraska that I used to go see. That's because my mom wouldn't stay off the damn cocaine. The problem is getting a hold of my mother and now getting a hold of my father. See, I owe it to my dad to take his abuse because he has things in his mind that I should be doing. And that's why going to see my dad was such a bad fucking idea. I was hoping that the guy would stop and take a look at the evidence. I mean, I didn't save this shit for no goddamn reason. I was sent into a panic attack intentionally by officers across multiple jurisdictions. And then I was prevented from defending myself in court in multiple jurisdictions. Each one of them using jurisdiction as their excuse why it's not their fault. Why they didn't do anything wrong. The fact is, when somebody is in a severely heightened mental state like I was, there's a reason for it. And I was trying to explain it to these officers who didn't care. All they were interested in is taking me in on a mental health hold because they thought that I had killed somebody. Why did they thought that I had killed somebody? Because the officers, in Natalie's case, they didn't bother to stay in a press release that I hadn't killed Natalie. Now, there's all these fucking assholes in all these groups that, well, most of them were fake. They were pretending to be my friend in order to gain my trust. And I had to try to trust somebody now, didn't I? Going to war against the entire state of Colorado, well, that wasn't my choice. That wasn't something that I wanted. Now, these people threatened, harassed, bullied, and intimidated myself, my friends, and anybody who tried to help me. Not anybody. There's a few people who didn't comment on those posts, and they didn't get kicked from those groups. They didn't get harassed like that. But that's the major issue here, is that these were Sean Schwartz hate groups spreading hate and slander. I was being assaulted over this fucking slander. Meanwhile, these cowards, well, they won't come and fight me one-on-one. There's no such thing as a fair fight. Here in the United States, your rights are based upon money. Like, if your daddy gave you $1 million loan, you can be president. However, if your daddy's an asshole like mine, he'll ignore you your entire life until something fucked up like this happens. For me, trying to get my dad to listen is about like trying to breathe underwater. I tried to get him to understand. I'm like, Dad, stop and listen to understand. Sean, I'll never understand you. See, right there, that's why people automatically assume. Meanwhile, my emotions aren't that much different from my dad's. My emotions aren't that much different from anybody else's. They're still emotions. The difference is my emotions are real. When it comes to Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, you know, I was being assaulted by rumors of things that never happened. And people don't want to understand. They don't want to take the time to understand. They just want to, well, refuse to take a look at the whole situation. With what happened with Candace at Candace Dale's house. That was a whole fucked up situation and she needed to come forward. But her and Lana and Amanda and Miss Jerry all did the same thing. The goddamn texting thing. Now, there gets a point where I am fucking so overwhelmed with texting that I just want to eat a bullet. That's every single text message. Believe it or not. Why do I text message people? Because they won't call. When they do call, they don't listen. Now, Miss Peaches, she was a piss poor fucking listener. She's been working on it. That's the thing. I give credit where it's due. My eyeball is fucking burning. When it comes to saving lives, Boulder Police Department does not do that. Now, for me, not having parents in my corner, I noticed this when I was a little kid. The difference between somebody getting in trouble and somebody not getting in trouble is whether or not their parents showed up. For me, I just had to take the punishment. I was automatically assumed guilty, despite the fact that Zach hit me first. However, he was trying to get into the military, so he got leniency. You're going to notice a lot of that. That child molester ahead of me in court in Larimer County. Yeah, that son of a bitch. He was in the military, so it's okay that he molested a child. This guy's a masseuse. Ooh. Somebody has to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even if it's just me. Now, separating me from anybody who is trying to help me is a pretty fucked up thing for the police to do. And again, they assumed that I had killed somebody. Now, they had to drop the charges because obviously they assaulted me. However, I don't have the money for a lawyer, so they get to get away with it. Meanwhile, that set the tone for more public bashing of my good name. And it was a good name. Why was it a good name? Because I was good to people. And a lot of people would love to come forward. The problem is getting in contact with them. And they ask me stuff like, well, who do I talk to? Well, shit, this happens statewide. So, I got no goddamn clue. I still haven't had an environment where I can sit down and not be abused. A place with the actual resources to defend myself against these monsters. These guys did everything in their power to prevent me from making a police report in multiple jurisdictions, especially against the police who did do wrong in all of those jurisdictions. Meanwhile, because it was police who were actually doing most of the intimidating, I can't even defend myself. I can't get a public pretender with the balls to actually stand up to these son of a bitches, or the time. People like Pamela Carty, the tricks that they pulled there to prevent me from showing evidence. I mean, literally, they have pulled every trick that they can to not look at evidence. Every single public pretender, every single officer. They go out of their way to pull this mentally ill bullshit that I've outlined time and time again. Now, this is something that police officers do to cover their own wrongdoing. Now, Jeff Taco Ortiz. This is an officer who actually assaulted me in his office about a decade ago. I was trying to get him to take a report about a situation in Chapel, Nebraska. And I was in handcuffs when he slammed me against the ground. By the way, I told y'all where he works, Farmers Elevator Company in Chapel, Nebraska. His wife told me to come and see him, or come and see her over at their house. And that was after Natalie was killed. I don't even remember where the hell they live. That's how long it's been since I really paid attention to Chapel, Nebraska. The reason for that is because everybody that I knew there moved out. Pretty much. There's a few people there who know me, but it's a matter of actually getting those people to file a police report. Now, Aunt B, Brenda Dickinson, she was telling me about Pam. She's another lady in Chapel, Nebraska. And Pam, she got to overhear a little bit of the stuff that people talking about killing me. But they didn't. That's the point. All these people telling me pretty words like, you shouldn't care what other people think. People assaulted me because of what people think. I was assaulted by the Boulder Police Department over what people think. There was a murder trial going on. Not even a murder trial at that point. They were still looking for the murderer. Now, all these people that I had gotten rid of while I was in Virginia, there's a reason that I got rid of them. It's because they're assholes. They ganged up on me when I needed help. Miss Jerry, Miss Lana, Tyler, Jenny, they all ganged up on me over a racist post made by Tyler. And I said, just to set the example for them, how would you like it if a soldier was punched in the throat for punching Colin Kaepernick in the throat? That's what it was over in Virginia. Now, for me, I saved the evidence as best I could. The problem is, that shit with Jerry blindsided me. That stuff with Lana blindsided me. That stuff with Candace blindsided me. When I tried to kill myself, it was over Candace and the shit that she had to deal with in Haxton, Colorado. Now, to get a statement from her is damn near impossible. She didn't like the fact that I typed a bunch of mean words at her. Well, there's a reason I typed those mean words at her. She had it coming. Just because you throw money at a situation doesn't mean that you're in the right. The reason I typed those mean things at her is because she was typing shit that she knew wasn't true at me. Like, I had internet access for a whole week. No, I didn't. I tried to give Miss Shelley every piece of information I could. Including my email login. Ken and Leah, when they stole all my money, on my old phone, people kept on sending me the same fucking thing. The same phone numbers. The same exact phone numbers. And thinking that that was going to help. No, I needed a safe environment. I needed somewhere in the state of Colorado where I could sit down and actually show what it is that I didn't have the technical abilities to do. Getting a hold of these people was a giant pain in the ass. I'm constantly on the move. I have injuries And I'm having to use my body in a way that my body is not built for any longer. I used to be a good goddamn worker. But then when I'm walking around from place to place with that Natalie's voice bag, I'm trying to get actual help. And they're doing everything they can to separate me from my money, my disability. Now, people have been trying to push me to get disability since I was 18. And that's all fine and dandy, but you need somebody in your corner. And Aunt B, being as fucked up as she was, she still had experience. She was able to help me get into housing in Chapel, Nebraska. The major issue is these people can do whatever they want. It's been over a year that they have kept me so tied up in the courts that I literally could not get a place to live. So I have to depend on other people who are going out of their way not to understand the situation. And the more they go out of their way to not understand the situation, the more severe my panic attack is. Because these people across the board who threatened me, I tried to turn them in. But the police weren't having none of it. It's socially acceptable to victimize the homeless. It doesn't matter that I wasn't homeless until Natalie died. I had been homeless for years before that because I didn't have any help. But I had good people around me because there were homeless people who understood me. That was Boulder, Colorado. What's gone on since Natalie and her sister decided to lie in Virginia, it was just a little white lie. What harm could it possibly do? So after having a severe panic attack for an entire year, not having anyone to talk to, basically the only people that I have to talk to is my fucking therapist, who will not answer her goddamn phone. There were 5 different occasions where I didn't get to go to my appointments. Now, due to the fact that there was only one of them that I didn't go to, but there was 5 overall that I wasn't able to actually go to my meeting, was pretty screwed up, and they were going to drop me because of that. I'm like, hey, Tamara didn't show up, Nicole Peralta didn't show up on 4 different occasions. That's not my fault. So the fact that they tried to hold that over my head, Region 1, is pretty fucked up. But that's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with. Now, I was living at Ken and Leah's, and I was moving back and forth between Ken and Leah's and Chapel, Nebraska, or Sydney, Nebraska, so I could go to those appointments. And I shouldn't be driving. I literally, to this day, should not be driving. But that's not the important part, is it? Because the mental health that I have to fucking deal with from the severe quantities of abuse that I've gone through, and people are like, you should go see a therapist. I was seeing a therapist. I tried repeatedly to go see a therapist. The problem is, nobody fucking cared. They were too busy bashing and smashing me online and in the media, and I never got to defend myself. So they basically just slandered me in the media. They painted me as a fucking killer and a stalker. And despite the fact that I had been trying to get somebody to take my goddamn report before Natalie died, and nobody would. You need to man up. When I had to chase down the police in Chapel, Nebraska, there's a reason for it. I needed to be able to defend myself against these predators. But the police wouldn't do anything about it. Not only that, Officer Brian Valenzuela is stealing evidence. And my public pretender in Arapahoe County not doing a goddamn thing to do her fucking job. These guys are all in the same fucking boat. They're all on the same side. The public pretenders, the DA, the police, the judges. If you're homeless, you have no rights. You make them money because you exist. The jails are full of homeless people Because it's against the law to be homeless.